Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back, another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Saturday, March 22nd, because it's literally 12 exactly. That confused me because I thought it was Friday. Celtics just got a win over the Utah Jazz, first game of a 6-game road trip, 121-99 victory. Looked close a little bit in the second half, and then it wasn't anymore because the Jazz aren't very good. But big games from Kristaps, big game for Jayson. Sam had a nice game off the bench as well. Colin Sexton dropped 30 and gave the Celtics a scare. Keontae George made a few big shots, but outside of that, no one could really get anything going for Utah, who did manage to shoot pretty efficiently from three, but it didn't matter. This is like the definition of March 22nd basketball game. Like this is, you know what I'm saying?
NBA basketball game.
NBA March 22nd basketball game. Everyone's watching UConn versus Oklahoma. Everyone's watching whatever March Madness.
Michigan State.
Killed by Michigan State. Meanwhile, the Celtics have an interesting game. There were some fun things that happened. There were some interesting things that happened. But the Celtics got to win. That's what matters most. And on to the next, I suppose, is how it works.
Yeah, the Celtics did a great job of just like flexing. You had different stretches in this game where there was a different Celtic that Utah could not stop. The first quarter was Jayson Tatum. Guy went nuts, had like 14 points at least by the time the buzzer went off. Porzingis also had a strong start in this game. And then you just had Pritchard and Hauser go ballistic in the second half, just making all the threes. Pritchard had a heat check 3 and 1 from the logo. And Utah had nothing for the Celtics. I wish NBA.com would let me split the box score into quarters because it's been long enough since the game ended. But they will not at this time. So I can't tell you exactly how many points each guy in each period.
Well, the game book, I got you. First quarter, Jayson Tatum had 14 points. Second quarter, Kristaps Porzingis had 11.
Yeah.
Third quarter, excuse me. Third quarter, where is the third quarter one? Come on. Doesn't. Oh, third quarter only. Third quarter is actually pretty. Everybody. Sam Hauser had 6. Pritchard had 5. Tatum had 5. And then the fourth quarter comes around, and Pritchard had 10. So that'll do it.
They went just. I mean, even Colin Sexton had a stretch in this game, right, where he went berserk to start the second. I mean, he had an incredible game overall, 12 of 16 from the field. I mean, you take that every day of the week for 30 points. But in the third quarter, especially, you felt him made 3 straight threes. He had like the between the legs dribble in transition where he just threw it to himself and then pulled up and hit it and brought the Jazz to within 2. And then by the time you blinked, the Celtics were up 15 again. 13-0 run right after that.
Yeah. This one almost felt like the Celtics were fucking around a little bit. Like this was the first game of the season. It feels like, to me at least, that they were just like, let's have a little fun. Like, it wasn't exactly the Jaylen Brown, we let the bench guys run the offense against the Pistons game. Because like Tatum obviously had a big first quarter, Kristaps, but like they did the whole thing where they search for mismatches, right? They try to get Tatum and Walker Kessler. They try to get KP in post against smaller players. But they were just like, hey guys, watch this. They just bullied those advantages and pounded them into the dirt until the game was over, really. And the Jazz shot all right? They shot 45, 40 from 3. They had 24 assists. Like, they played fine, but the Celtics got 13 more shots. Celtics had 16 offensive rebounds in this game. Al Horford rebounded the ball like a motherfucker in this game. Yeah, man, this is just as like it's the worst possible analysis you can give. The Celtics are just a better basketball team than the Jazz. Like that is what this game was. There was no point in this game outside of the little run where they made threes where it was like, okay, wow, this could be a game. And for a second there, maybe it was. And then the Celtics were like, just kidding, we're just kidding, guys. It's like they're giving the Jazz a little noogie. Like they're just like, sorry, guys, we're gonna go back up and win the game again. And like you said, it was a different person every quarter. Jayson Tatum start to this game was super fun to watch. He was doing a little bit of everything.
He had the rainbow trick to himself in transition on accident where he tried.
Did he kick it or did the Jazz kick it?
He kicked it. So Tatum tried to go coast to coast, and Derek White kind of fucked him because Derek White ran in his lane and also brought his second help defender over. So Tatum was trying to split defenders. ball gets knocked around, ends up hitting Tatum's heel as he like is running, and it's literally like a soccer trick, and it just ends up in his hands with nobody in front of him for an easy
Surely that's
layup
a
in
kick ball,
transition.
right? Surely that's not allowed.
Yeah, it probably should have been a kickball, but the highlight was cool,
Mm.
and maybe they should change the game. Like if you can do that, you should be able to do it.
I guess
More
if it
power
looks
to you.
cool enough. But yeah, he had a great start. Kristaps had a really like this might was this Kristaps' best game of the season? Might be. It's up there. The playmaking on top, he had
Very
6 assists. That's probably tied
well-rounded.
for a season high. Like 10 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds. He did maybe not because the defense wasn't there as much. Like he didn't have any blocks. Like not think he was bad on defense, but he's had some like monster block games. But like this was a very maybe most well-rounded Kristaps game is the better way to put it. Because like you don't really see Kristaps have these high assist games, and he was like passing really well for long stretches of this game, which is a nice bonus. And he didn't even have to play that much, which is even better. Only 24-40. So
Yeah, and the most exciting thing, in my opinion, about his outing today was the threes. They're back. 3 of 5 from 3 in this game. After returning from injury, I think he only made 1 in each of the previous 2 games. So that was the thing that was still kind of getting back up to speed. Hadn't exactly looked like the laser that he had been a lot of the season, where you just give him the ball, heel on the logo, guy throws a line drive, hits the bottom of the net, like the crispest make you could see. It was back today, started the game that way, looked comfortable. The rebounds are a little inflated because there was that one play where he missed the layup and got it back, and then missed the dunk and got it back, and then got fouled in the first half, and that was 2 of his 4 offensive rebounds. But overall, like I don't think you should be disappointed in this at all. Like very, very well-rounded game, very encouraging play from him overall since he's come back from being sick. He did say in his little walk-off interview that he's still not feeling the best, but somehow he's playing incredible. So I wouldn't panic
classic.
if there is a pullback or a regression in his production. Not to say we should all sit here and like pray on that, but just, if it happens, it happens. I don't think people should flip out. He's looked fantastic in these 3 games again. Like being the leading scorer in this game says enough. Like, good job. Jalen was out. You stepped up. Great.
Indeed. And Sam, by the way, we went 0 for 3 on Prize Picks.
Yep, we always do.
But that doesn't mean you guys shouldn't check out Prize Picks. It's the best place to get real money sports action. If you're literally any better than us, it's the best place to do it, except we are just, maybe this is our bit now. It's just a bit that we're terrible at it. But regardless, it's made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less and at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 extra cash. It's the best place to get this action in more than 30 states, California, Texas, Georgia, and right here in Massachusetts. You can mix and match player projections from different sports too. So once the Red Sox start up, you can bring in some of those guys, combine it with the Celtics season as they keep on going. Offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Sam and I use it on the pregame show. We're not very good at it. I believe we're 0-11-2 at this point. So again, maybe just take the opposite of what we do. But regardless, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. But back to this Jazz game. I was very impressed with Kristaps for all of it. I think he was like the big story, the big, like he had the best game of the bunch. Tatum was fine. He had 6 turnovers too. After that first quarter, it really felt like Tatum maybe wasn't quite as good. But it didn't really matter because it was the Jazz and the Celtics just kind of fucked around and it was fine from there. It was a very weird game for Derek and Drew. Derek played 31-48. Drew only had to play 23. Derek was only like 3 of 8, 2 of 7. Drew was 3 of 6, only took 1 3. But I thought they were both pretty effective, right? They both had 3 steals each. Derek had a sick block, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for Derek, 2 rebounds, 4 assists for Drew. Like, I just think they're using those guys in different ways down the stretch. Like, they have the ball in their hands a lot more. It feels like they're not as off the ball as much. It's nice to see them be involved more, even if they're not like shooting the most efficient, from 3 or even taking a lot of shots. Like they combined for 14 shots, which isn't much, but I was pleased with the way they looked, and I think you're starting to see the Celtics use them in different ways, which could be useful in the postseason.
Yeah, that block that Derek White had was fucking crazy. Just the two
Rude.
hands
That was
off the glass
disrespectful.
kind of hurt Keontae George a little bit. And then he had the steal in transition where he just snuck up and stole the ball, and then the Celtics end up reaping the rewards
Classic.
of that.
He had two of them.
Yeah. Just really good, impactful moments from him on a night, like you said, where they didn't ask him to do much offensively. Only 8 shots. You said 14. Like, there have been plenty of games this year where Derek has taken more than that by himself. So the fact that he's comfortable doing so, he's dishing out for assists, like he's still impacting the game, says a lot about his character. We knew that.
Derek's
Like,
averaging 13 shots a game. Like,
yes, exactly that. Like, he has had such a larger role this year. Maybe that's like a little bit of the team trying to get Kristaps comfortable again. You know, that was another thing that Porzingis mentioned, was like, it just feels like he's getting a lot of opportunities to try and create for everybody, which you saw with the assists today. So there were a lot of great plays made. And if that just is the Celtics playing like like the game where you have 8 pieces where there are 9 slots and you have to slide them to make the correct picture. Like
yes.
there's
Yeah.
So they're doing that to try and make everybody happy and everybody up to speed. And that is what the 14 shots between White and Holiday equated. And just like Derek, Holiday has a bunch of steals. He had that one sequence where he intercepts the pass and gets the cut to the basket on the other end of the floor. And like, the little things are what is going to make the difference. Like, you don't need these guys to have explosive nights. Of course, like last playoff run, Derek has 38 in the first round. Drew has a couple big scoring games later in the playoffs. Like, they have their moments, but what it boils down to is their top skill should always be defense. And tonight was a great example of it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm continuing. I continue to be impressed with Drew in particular too. Like, they're finding very fun ways to use him. That steal or block, maybe it was, and the give and go he had with I think it was KP or maybe it was Luke going to the rim. Like, they're just using him as the ball handler more, but also like putting him in different off ball positions that aren't just behind the 3-point line. So I've been impressed with that. There'll probably be a video on it at some point during this road trip that'll probably drop. But regardless, speaking of the Derek massive block, how about Luke just sending Cody Williams into the shadow realm on a block? He like cocked back like dunkers do when they're going for a huge slam, and just goes whomp, and he's just slammed that shit against the backboard. But good game for Luke, and we'll get to the Pritchard Hauser as well. But Luke 2 of 4, only 4 points, but team high plus 23, 5 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds, 3 blocks. I saw, are you familiar with the F5? I assume so. It's like Owen Phillips. He put out a thing today that like Tatum Luke pick and roll or Tatum Luke minutes or something are like the second best combo in the NBA. Yeah, so top 10 pick and roll combos in the NBA with a minimum 400 like attempts. It is Murray Jokic at 1 and then Tatum Kornet at 2 with points per possession at 1.33 points per possession. You know how fucking stupid that is? Like, what a ridiculous stat that is. Here, I'll pull it up on the screen. It is in line with Murray Jokic, Halliburton, Siakam, SGA Hartenstein, Mitchell Allen, Garland Allen, Chris Paul, Wembanyama. Like, the other bigs on this list outside of Luke Kornet, Nikola Jokic, Pascal Siakam, Isaiah Hartenstein, 2 Jared Allens, Wembanyama, Gobert, Giannis, and Miles Turner. What a ridiculously efficient statistic. Like, Kornet's season continues to be unbelievable. This was like not even like the biggest Luke Kornet game, but he was just like rock solid, and that just I think going into the playoffs, a lot of people are underestimating the fact that Luke wasn't healthy in the postseason last year. And like, not only is he going to be healthy this year, knock on wood, obviously anything can happen, but he's also like better. Like, he's also a lot better. So that's going to be a very like important tool and important thing for Missoula to be able to like that he'll get to utilize in the playoffs.
Just think about, I mean, the first preseason game. We were all like, oh my God, he's making decisions out of the short roll. And how many times, Jack, do you think we've watched a preseason game or a summer league game and seen something and been like, is this a thing now? Like, oh my God. And this feels like the first time it's really stuck. And you felt that. Like, the points per possession on those pick and roll opportunities is not just Tatum scoring, Luke scoring. It's a lot of that, but it's either one of those guys making good decisions with the ball and making the right play. And Luke has been really great at slipping the screens, being just aware on the roll and finding the open guy on the perimeter if help comes at him. And it all goes back to him just being a real threat at the rim. Like, he's legitimately good at finishing. He's quick off his feet, keeps the ball high. He'll dunk the ball. Like, he is just the fundamental guy you need. And I almost wonder, with his contract being up this summer, if they will look at this, see how much it affects Tatum positively, and be willing to either pay him outright or move things around in order to keep him.
A part of me wonders if they almost just flip the Luke and Horford contracts. Not that Horford doesn't deserve it, but at this point, like,
What if he's
he
like, I'm in? Yeah.
he might be at the point where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna sign minimums for the next few years, if not for like to help the team to be like, I don't know when I'm gonna want to retire, so I'm just gonna sign a 1 year minimum every year I want to stay, and then you feel more comfortable saying, okay, Luke, like, give you that 8 to 10 or maybe even 12 the MLE, like, sure, you know what I'm saying, like that'll be a more palatable thing, and that'll be fine, especially considering, and this can be the segue here, Hauser and Pritchard were nasty. But before I talk to you about them, I need to talk to you about Game Time. I forgot I had to do this. Game Time. Sorry. Best place to get your tickets this basketball season, this baseball season when it comes up to. I still stand that the biggest gap between best sporting experience watching at home versus in person, like the gap with baseball is the biggest of any sport by far, right? Like the experience of watching a baseball game in person versus at home, like huge, right? Like I can watch a football game or a basketball game or a soccer game at home and it's fine. Like it'd be great to be there, but I will not watch a baseball game at home. But I love to watch a baseball game in person. And the Red Sox are back soon, so make sure to check out Game Time for all your ticketing needs. I'll pull up Game Time so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. The best part about Game Time, in my opinion, is you can see the view from your seat. So here's Fenway Park. We looked at it once. Right here, Fire Emblem. Are you laughing at my Boston accent? I thought I did a pretty good job. Cheapest ticket here, you can see with the Fire Emblem, and you can see exactly what you see. This is where me and my friends sit whenever we head out to Sox games. It's a good time out there. You can see the stars here for great deals. And then right here, the super deal is the best deal according to them. And this is actually on the Monster. So it's actually really good value for sitting on the Green Monster. And you can see that there. You can flip, toggle on and off, seeing the fees as well. So when you do see what you're paying, you see everything at once. So you're not getting surprised with any late fees at the end of the checkout process. Also has the lowest price guarantee, which is, literally the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So it's the best place for ticketing this baseball, basketball, all that season. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Again, terms apply. Create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. But back to Pritchard and Hauser, who, like you mentioned, kind of carried the second half in this game. Pritchard finished with 18 points, 6 of 13 from the field, 4-11 from deep, had 4 assists as well. Hauser, 4 of 8 from 3 for 14 points. He really got hot in this one. It hasn't happened as much this season, so you kind of forget about it. There's nothing smoother than watching Sam Hauser drain threes. Like, that dude has like the smoothest 3-point form I've seen. Like it looks like, it almost looks like if Joakim Noah was good at shooting. Does that make any sense? Do I make any sense?
Yeah, a little bit.
way
He has the
flicks it
wider
out?
base.
Yeah,
The shot kind of comes from his chest. Not really. He
but
starts to push
Joakim
his
Noah was
chest
good.
and it ends up. Yeah.
But yeah, good game for at one point they rolled out Tatum and the White Boys. So good, but good game for those guys.
Impressive display for the fellas. Just to kind of touch base, oh my God, someone shoot me. Touch upon another big storyline we were watching going into this game. We did not see Baylor Shireman carry over the offensive momentum. He was 0-4.
Unfortunately not.
For 0 points in 12 and a half minutes. He had one really good defensive play that was called a foul, and then they challenged it, and it got overturned. So I think the coaching staff was still happy with what they saw from him, even though the shots didn't go down, which was the really big takeaway the last time we talked about him. That was something I really wanted to stress, is I feel like Shireman's getting these minutes not so much because of his shooting, but more of just like you can trust him not to fuck up. like almost
Did a
in the
whole video
Luke
on it.
way. Yeah, literally in the Luke way, where like he's like vanilla frozen yogurt because he can't be vanilla ice cream. Like he's not quite as good as Luke, but does the
He's got
job.
one to go. Yeah, I agree. He still like goes for some of these silly, maybe don't foul there, don't go for the steal there, just like chill out.
Yeah.
But he is good. Like you can see the pathway forward for Shireman to be an impactful player on this team. And none of the shots he took were out of rhythm for what it's worth too. Like he was over 4, but they were all like, yeah, that's a shot you should be taking. They didn't go down. And to be honest, like if you really want to get into it, and we don't have to go too deep, but like Shireman is one of those. I don't know if he's a great catch and shoot shooter. Like he feels like he does need a rhythm to be really good. Like sometimes you see it, and sometimes you see the opposite end
You
of it
didn't
when he
see the
does
no
get hot.
dip 3 on Wednesday.
I don't know. It feels like he could be a little inconsistent as a catch and shoot shooter. But regardless, Torrey Craig got the ultimate Joe Mazzulla minutes, where it is every possession is just as important as everything else. And he got in there for a few possessions at like the end of quarters, which is like Joe Mazzulla's favorite thing. He played 38 seconds. JD Davison had a big 4 points, 3 rebounds. Good for him. Jordan Walsh got a couple buckets. They threw in the end of the bench squad for like 2 fucking useless minutes at the end of the game. But JD got like a whole 5 possessions with the starters, which was weird to see on the court at the same time.
He got a bucket. Nice putback. Sick.
Mm-hmm. Outside of that, nothing too notable. I forgot Micah Potter was on this Jazz team, and he was like doing some weird rat shit at times. It felt like being super physical, doing shit. Micah Potter's one of those guys who they throw in the Team USA scrimmages that you're like, why the fuck is this guy there? Do you know that?
I didn't know that. But speaking of rat shit, there was the Sexton Porzingis dust up that happened. Nothing really came of it, but it happened. You might see like a clip on Twitter of it, maybe.
Yeah, it was pretty nothing. Yeah, Micah Potter was a part of the select team with Pritchard, so maybe they're boys. They're friends. I just remember seeing that list and being like, why the fuck is Micah Potter on this select team? You know what it is? It's because there were 3 randoms on that select team with like the other, like, oh, these are like actually decent young players. It was Micah Potter, Langston Galloway, and Nigel Hayes, who I interviewed for my Luke Kornet story. And they were all just like, why the fuck are these guys here? But regardless, I think that just about does it from this game. Good KP game, fine Tatum game, good shooters game. Anything else we covered that you did? Oh, also Cody Williams per more than 0.5 assists. I'm flabbergasted, but regardless, any final thoughts?
Ah, man, Prize Picks is very unkind. We
Sad
never
day.
win.
Sad day. If it wasn't 12:30 and I had to edit, I would say let's do one GeoGuessr to avenge the pregame, but I gotta edit and go to sleep. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like.
I'll be thinking about GeoGuessr for the next day.
I'll let Sam take it out.
Thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you thought of Celtics Jazz. I'm sure you couldn't take your eyes off it. March 22nd. Celtics Jazz. Subscribe to the channel, though. We're here every day with new content. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps at the morning after each game. Other videos on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find us streaming pregame live. Like Jack said, we're here for a half hour before tip-off, talking with the chat, doing prize picks and losing, seeing how GeoGuessr treats us. Subscribe for all of it. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We're checking all your emails. We're recording later today as you hear this, so get them in, hbtcpod@gmail.com. You can also find us on social at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook's the name of the pod. All streams there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter, Jack's One NBA, mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.